Okay, this is wall sections part 2. At this point you should have your foundation and your floor slab drawn in, as well as your wall, your sheetrock, and your plywood sheathing. And we're going to move up here towards your roof truss at this point. And trusses are typically made out of 2x4s, but if they get big spans on them, they could be 2x6s or 2x8s or even bigger than that. But for this little house that we're doing, 2x4s is sufficient. And you might want to just take opportunity and Google roof trusses and just kind of take a look at how the webs are and how the top and bottom cord. This is the top cord and this is the bottom cord, and then inside there'll be webs that kind of run at diagonals to help support it, and they become a truss. And that's how you can take little small pieces of lumber and carry big loads with it, is those webs support it. But Google that and just see how a roof truss is put together. But let's start right here again with the 3/4 scale. 3/4 inch equals a foot, and let's measure up from the top of that 8 foot 1.5 line, the top of your wall. Measure up 3.5 inches, and you're going to draw straight across at that point at the top of your wall, straight across, draw a line straight across, which is the bottom cord of your truss, and come up 3.5 inches and draw the top of that bottom cord of that truss. And then you can drop down from the bottom cord of that truss down a half inch or 5/8 inch actually for sheetrock, and draw that finished sheetrock or gypsum wallboard in that you see there. Let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger for you, and maybe a little darker. What we just talked about was at the top of your wall. You got that double top plate, and you're gonna strike a line right straight across there. You're gonna measure up 3.5 inches and draw that bottom cord. Again, that's 3.5 inches. You've got your sheetrock on the inside of your wall here already, and you got your 1/2 inch plywood. You're going to drop down 5/8 inch from the bottom of this bottom cord of this truss, 5/8 of an inch, and it'll be sheetrock or gypsum wallboard on the bottom of that. And what I want you to do is draw this top cord, which is at the diagonal that we did our roof pitch, which is, remember, is 7 and 12. So you would basically come right there at this point right there, which is going to be right here, and that's where that top cord slope will be. And you can measure up 7 and over 12 to get that pitch. And then you're going to offset off of that line 3.5 inches and draw the top of that bottom cord. So you're measuring, you're doing your roof pitch here at 7 and 12. Then you're going up 3.5 inches and you're extending that top cord. And then you're going to go on top of that top cord and draw 5/8 inch plywood on top of that. So that's 5/8 inch plywood on top of that top cord, which is what we'll nail our shingles to. You then are going to measure over, I think we had 12 inch overhang, so you're going to measure over 12 inches, and you're going to strike a line, which is the end of your truss, which has that piece of blocking on it. So let me see if I can draw that a little bit better for you. So measure over that 12 inches right there, and it's going to have a piece of blocking on it, which looks just like that. It'll be cut at that slope for the roof as it comes across there. And then you're going to draw in 6-inch fascia right here, 6 inches. Let's draw it about 1 inch thick and draw that in. And you're going to put your soffit line in on the bottom of that with about a 1/2 inch soffit board attached to the bottom of that, and that's a 2x4 framing that you see right in that area right here, that frames with the trusses to give you something to nail that soffit board to. So now you should have your wall and your trusses drawn, and we've got to put our shingles on and insulation and label it and all such as that. So let's just start at the top and work our way down. Let's put our shingles on. Remember how I showed you how to delineate your shingles when you were drawing your elevations. I'm going to make this bigger. I'm going to be right along the top of this plywood on that roof here. So you've got the plywood, and that's the top of your roof truss. So what you want to do is come in here and use your triangle to do this. Is come up and then over, up, and then over, up, and then over. I'm skipping the part where I should be doing my triangle like that, but give a little detail, and use, just for purposes of this, we'll use about 6-inch exposure on your shingle. So you make that about 6 inches a piece. You're basically going to do the wall, the siding down your wall, the same kind of way. This is your overhang here. Here's your wall. There's that double top plate, and there's your plywood that goes there. Your soffit that you drew is there, and here's your fascia. I know that's kind of sloppy, but you're going to have like a 1x4 piece of trim at the very top. But what you really need to do is come down here to the bottom and draw your siding. And see if I can make that a little bit bigger. This is your floor line. And there's your concrete block. Here's your stud wall sitting on top of that, and your plywood. Your siding should start at the bottom and work your way up, and you'll cut the one at the top instead of the one at the bottom. So that's about a 6-inch exposure as well as what we draw that, and draw your siding up the wall such as that. And I'll help each one of you individually that you need help with that. So draw that at this point all the way up that wall for your exterior siding, and do that. While you're up here at the top, you'll see we've got insulation, and insulation should be in about 9 inches thick as a minimum, and basically it's just drawn like this. If you get good, you can do it by freehand. If not, you can use your circle templates to create that and connect them together, and that's going to be your insulation there, as well as in your wall, which is going to fill the entire cavity. You're going to do that inside your wall as well. So inside your wall you'll have insulation light, and you don't need to show it all, just show a little bit to delineate that. Then I want you to come down here to your concrete slab. Inside of that concrete slab you're going to have if this is your concrete slab, you'll notice that's 4 inches thick, that we've got a little symbol in there like that, and that is what they call a woven wire mesh, which looks like a piece of fence that they put in the concrete when they pour it. It's about halfway the depth of the concrete, and it gives strength to the concrete. It's like reinforcement to the concrete. So I want you to draw that in right in the middle of that slab right there. Then you can kind of stipple in all your concrete, and they'll fill those voids in that concrete block, so you'll stipple that, and then you can delineate those concrete block, which are right here. Probably doesn't show on your handout, but if you use your 45-degree triangle and just draw your symbols in there in the concrete block, such as this. That's freehand and kind of sloppy, but it kind of give you how it looks. You can use your 45-degree triangle and draw that, and it should be on the handout that we gave you, the symbols of concrete block. At that point, you can draw in your finished grade, which is about 8 inches down from your floor. It usually slopes away. You got reinforcement, which is up 3 inches from the bottom of your footing, there and there. It's usually about 3 inches over from the side, and it usually has a bottom ladder to kind of hold it up. And that reinforcement, which you say two number 5s, and 5s means it's like 5/8 of an inch round, but you'll have to draw it bigger than that for it to show up. Continuous with 3 number 4s at 48, which is that one that you see the horizontal line going across there. So you can go ahead and do that. Then you can dimension, just like we have dimensioned here in your handout, and then you can put all this lettering in place, that same as we have on your handout. So put all those dimensions and all those lettering, put that roof symbol on, as well as any lettering that we have shown in your handout to you. And of course, don't forget that you want to call this, you want to come across the bottom and put your guidelines, and you're going to put wall section. You will use your, of course, use your triangles and do it just like you've been practicing your letter. Scale 3/4 inch equals 1 foot, and you of course draw a line under that like that, and we'll come back and I'll give you a little bit more description on that. That's the wall section. If you understand this, you'll understand a lot more how to put a building together, and we'll review all these little pieces and parts one-on-one. Feel free to email me any questions you might have, or give me a call, and we'll help you as best we can. And that's wall sections.